Hey friends, it's Pegasus. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for stopping by. We're doing a working outpost tour today. Welcome to Pegasus Industries headquarters. This new game plus, I'm really getting into the manufacturing side of things for my roleplay. I'm always looking for those supply jobs on the mission boards while exploring, and I wanted a main outpost to do them at. I'm a fairly casual outpost builder, as in I'm not really into intensive resource management. I prefer to bring things in as I need them. I'll show you how that applies here later on. I've also been using this outpost for building experiments and ended up with a few things here that turned out really well. My goals for this build were to put storage containers on the basic landing pad and get this large one nicely cluttered, and get all of the airlocks lined up right at the edge for seamless access to my habs. This military hab here is set up as a storage shed. My other goals were to make a small hex hab for more practice building and decorating in a not square room, and crew quarters for staff that I will eventually be hiring. I got a lot of questions on my previous outpost videos about floating habs, and finally got around to making a tutorial on how to do that at this outpost. Thanks for your patience if you were looking for something like that. But that floating structures exploit also works for things like these storage containers. You can also use it to put habs right on top of the landing pad, but here I wanted them off the side so I have space for all of these other things. Over here is a rest stop I made for my cargo haulers. They usually drop in pretty frequently, but I turned off the shipping and deliveries while doing the tour because they're pretty noisy. So we've got a washroom on the bottom floor, cots and TV upstairs. Even though the freighter pilots don't actually leave their ships, it was still fun to roleplay that they do and make a really casual place for them to just relax and hang out in between their runs. I kind of went back to the basics for this outpost. As I play more with mods, I've started realizing that I prefer to place my own clutter, so the landing pads, storage and transfer containers, machines, and a lot of other smaller items up here are just from the basic build menu, or they're junk items that I collect as I explore. Admin and operations supervisory are in this hex hab, as well as a workshop. Right up front is the command center and break area. Behind is the workshop. We also have another industrial workbench and spacesuit and weapon workbenches too. And then, of course, we've got to have supplies, lots of them. And I just liked how those open shelves looked with all of the cases on them. I was able to do it again here, even though I don't have a very steep hill to work with. And then we've got a couple of admin desks to finish up this room. Like I mentioned before, I'm using this outpost for manufacturing jobs when I find them on random mission boards. So back this way is where they get manufactured and then shipped out. I was trying to get the airlock on the side of the small landing pad. It works okay, but sometimes my captain does get stuck there. I have to remember to mind the gap. But this double hab is just for storage. I filled it with immersive clutter, but otherwise I don't have much to do with it right now. This outpost is actually processing a job right now. I just found a mission board job at an industrial outpost for microsecond regulators, and so I have an assembly line set up on this landing pad to make those that I can show you. I used the industrial workbench to figure out which resources I needed to collect to put together all of the components. They feed into these machines, and along with a couple of other raw resources, everything from them gets put into this last multiplex fabricator, which is connected to the intersystem cargo link in the middle, and they get sent off to Bell 1. And lastly, we'll walk through the crew quarters. I gotta have plans, and I went with a pastel and blonde wood color scheme this time. I just thought it played nicely with the beachy hues out here and all of these coral formations. And I love using the hydroponic habs for living quarters, just all that natural light, and if you're in a nice location, you get really good views through all of your walls. Even though there's a double bed, there's only one, so in my mind it's set up for single occupancy. If I end up hiring more crew for this outpost, I'll just make another one when I need it, but I think Heller is really gonna like it here. Last thing in this crew quarters setup is the floating deck. The water on this planet is a chemical hazard, so I do not advise swimming, but it still looks really nice. Well, that's all for the tour. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of Pegasus Industries headquarters. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop me a line. Build notes and mod list are in the video description. Thanks for watching. Catch a smile out there.